That's what it is. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. How's everybody doing?
Hi there.
Welcome.
Yes.
Can you welcome everybody?
Welcome to the day 2 session of the Info to Income Challenge.
Awesome. All right. So we are actually doing this challenge live, but we're actually doing it slightly different. A couple of months ago, was it September?
It was.
September, we did our first 7-day Info to Income Challenge in this particular format.
Covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. And one of the things that we have been trying to figure out how to work in was to do another Info to Income Challenge, which we're doing now in a 5-day, I'm calling it a condensed format. And we're doing this because right now, we just came off Info to Income Immersive, which was ended up being a 15-week immersive where we took a bunch of people who wanted to go deeper with us into the creation of information products. We were live twice a week for about 90 minutes each time.
Yep.
And it was like getting an MBA in information product creation.
It was fun though.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was a really good time. But what we wanted to do was to redo this challenge in the 5-day format. So yesterday, you guys heard about the 3 things that were totally required in order to take your information to become income. Transform, achieve, and measure.
Right.
Okay. So that I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. Today on day 2, I just kind of want to go over a little bit of introductory stuff because we talked a little bit about who we are. And I think one of the things that makes the information product thing work is we bring 2 totally different skill sets to the process.
Yeah, I think that's a great observation. A lot of times we'll approach things, come to different conclusions. We do work it out, but the truth is sometimes, the truth is a truth, but there are more ways than one to skin a cat, I think is the point.
Yeah.
And, I think that one of the things that we were talking about that you wanted to cover today was the mindset piece.
Yeah.
For the transition that you need to make. And one of the assumptions that I make when we do a challenge like this is that we're more than likely, or the person I'm thinking of and talking to is somebody who probably hasn't done this before. Could be any age, but I imagine somebody who's probably had some form of a career to some extent. So has done something, and probably has not been an entrepreneur, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, then you may not be familiar with the mindset shift that you have to be able to jump into a space like this, because you obviously, you're an entrepreneur here.
Yep.
And you're in the internet, which is a tech heavy, dynamic, fast changing space. And so it's something that you can do if you decide you want to do it. But if you're coming from a corporate environment, which is where I came from,
yep.
where I wasn't even aware of the support that I had.
That's an understatement.
Right? All of the little things that you get taken care of when you work at a company. And look, if you love that, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with working at a company. But you need to reorient and you can do both, but you need to reorient yourself when you come into a space like this. And, one of the things I know Ann talks a lot about, and probably a great place to start, is just that you're worthy. You are worthy of success, and you are worthy of, and this will all relate to the some of the strategies we talk about. But this is critical. You cannot, I don't want to go on too long about this, but you cannot overestimate the importance of the proper mindset when you are starting out on your own as an entrepreneur, especially on the internet.
Yep.
You follow me?
Yep. It's everything.
I need to
Yeah. It's absolutely everything. And so one of the things that I really felt like was a high priority, especially based on the feedback that we got from the last challenge, was to condense this into 5 days Keep them short and tackle the mindset piece, because one of the things that sorry, I'm not trying to crowd you over there.
No, no.
I'm working off kind of a slide deck here on the computer, but one of the things that we noticed was the strategy and all of that we can teach you. But if you don't have the mindset piece, then the strategy falls on dead soil.
Can I?
Yes, please go for it.
So I would just like to unpack that a little bit, because what she said, I've been guilty of not doing. So we can lay out for you all of the strategies to create a structure into which you can pour whatever information or experience that you have to create an online product to sell. But it doesn't do it itself. It has to be done, and it requires believing through the steps and turning off the voice in your mind that sometimes says, why does anyone want to hear it from you? And people already know that, both of which I'm sure are lies. Certainly there are people that want to hear it from you.
Yeah.
And we always overestimate what it is we think people know. We'll get to that later. But it's not going to do itself. So you have to have the commitment, I think, is the main. That is, if I could give you one thing in a mindset, it would be commitment.
Yeah, commitment to actually being able to change your mind.
Right. And to stick with the process.
Okay, so let me just kind of, as they say in Clubhouse, reset the room. So we are on day 2 of a 5-day info to income challenge. Yesterday, we talked about the 3 things that your information must have in order to become income. And I typically do that as kind of a pre-training, because if I can't get agreement on that, then no matter what the strategy is, no matter what the mindset is, I can't actually work people into a space where they can learn to transact and deliver really quickly in the online information product space. Okay, so I'm going to presume that everybody in this group took a hold of that and actually can visualize, hey, my information must transform a situation, right? People pay to have their problems solved. Transformation. Great. Check. Next, I'm going to presume that because you're here on day 2, that you're okay with the fact that your information product must be achievable in order to turn into income. If somebody came to me and said, hey, Ann, here's, spend $495 and in 4 weeks, you're going to be able to fly a 747. Pardon my French, but I would call BS on that, right? It's not achievable. And so that is an exaggeration. But what happens is, if what you're trying to transact in, information becoming income, if it isn't achievable, people internally know, they're like, okay, I got the BS meter going here. And so your information will not turn into income. The final piece of that is it has to be
measurable.
Yeah, measurable. Why? Because until you can actually put borders and boundaries around it and communicate the result, people won't buy it. People pay for results.
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because, obviously we've done this before. So I think I have a sense of what the answer is. But, when you're talking to people here and they may have an idea about, I'd like to do X. And there are some great business ideas that can be done online that aren't measurable by numbers. It may be measurable by a result in relationship. Or can you talk a little bit about how that might look in some of the softer, if you will, businesses that, it's not like we're accountants here.
Yeah. Well, there are 2 results that people pay for. Either you're compressing their time or you're increasing their finances. That's it. So every single information product of every kind is either saving time or compressing time for people, meaning fast forwarding them, right? They're getting on your shoulders as the quote unquote expert, and you're running them to their destination so they don't have to figure it out on their own. or you're going to make or save them money. That's it.
So if it's a relationship oriented,
You're compressing time.
That's exactly where I was going.
Right. So I don't want to unpack all of that right now because I want to get to the mindset piece having to do with content, but that's a great question. And so you can do this. There is not one person in this group who doesn't already have the skill set to actually stick with this and do this. Why?
Because your DNA is what qualifies you.
He's reading off a slide that we used last time. I have the slides up for us, and we'll put the slides in for you guys afterwards. I think we actually may already have those pre-populated into the Facebook group, so they popped up this morning before the live started. But I really felt like, the format of yesterday's, where Patrick and I were just kind of talking and unpacking it, is really what we're going to focus on for this 5-day challenge, because you're going to get the paperwork, you're going to get the slides, but there's a piece that you have to understand, that you are qualified to do this simply because you exist. Okay. And I think that was the thing, that was the mindset that I think the corporate man had to overcome.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I really like how you said that. And I'm trying to formulate a thought that is, the credentials are valuable.
Yeah.
And, degrees and all of that stuff. But I think one of the, if anybody who's gone to college or graduate school, I think in a lot of ways, unless you've done a hard science, you didn't really take, at least I didn't take what I learned in college or graduate school and actually apply it to my job. I had to really learn everything else once I got my job. And I guess my point is that you are, you, by virtue of having lived life and done things, have acquired knowledge that people will pay for. And just because you don't have a credential of some sort doesn't mean that you don't have something that is valuable, monetizable, and there doesn't mean there isn't somebody who wants to hear it from you. And so when she talks about being worthy and carrying that value, it is part of being innately human, right? And you can't get bogged down in the fact that you're not a PhD or an MBA or whatever the certification is,
or 25 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yes,
It
exactly.
could be anything.
Unless you're doing, as long as you're honest about, like what your background is and what you're trying to do, it's fine. Right. You just don't say you're a heart surgeon if you're not. That would be a problem. Or a pilot.
Yeah. Or even an ambulance driver.
I hope that's clear. If it's not, put in the questions and we'll address it.
Okay, why is that such an important mindset piece? Because I will share with you what I noticed. So you guys know we had a 7-day info to income challenge, and then we opened up our offer for our coaching immersive. Phenomenal program. But what I noticed was I probably should have spent more time on the mindset in the challenge, because once we got into the immersive, I found we were unpacking the mindset piece a couple weeks in. And so I really want to tackle the mindset piece, because without a shift in how we think, we won't actually be able to receive the strategy, the knowledge, the information to actually execute or do, so to speak, that will actually bear fruit. Okay. I have a coach who says this to me, and you have to make decisions. You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I do.
What am I going to say?
You have to make decisions as if you've already done what it is
correct
you're seeking to do. So you want to make $1 million, you have to make a decision. You have to think like and make decisions as if you've already made $1 million.
Yeah. And we saw this in the real estate when we had the biggest real estate transaction that we had.
Yeah.
So what am I going to unpack? So you have to actually understand that mindset is so important, that the reason you are where you are is because that's what your thinking has gotten you. So in order to learn a new skill and to press through the barriers of habit and routine and thinking patterns, in order to break through that barrier and get to the next level, you're in this challenge, you want to make income from information products, whether that's a masterclass, a challenge, a course, a program, a consulting program, whatever it is that you have to offer, you want to make income from it. Well, there has to be a new mindset shift. The fastest way to get there is to start to make decisions as if you've already gotten there.
Now, I would like to just interject.
Yes.
If you say to yourself, because this is what I would have done years ago, well, okay, fine. I'm going to go buy a Range Rover. Whoops, I don't have the money in my account to do it. Then you've missed the point of what we're saying.
Yes,
right.
That would be, yes, to not go making financial decisions that are not integral to your making more money.
Yeah, so, but my point was, like, someone might say, well, I don't have $1 million, so I can't. That's not the point.
Okay, please unpack that, because that isn't where my mindset goes. I'm like, oh, absolutely. So how do I make decisions as a business owner who's clicking along at 6 figures plus per month? Easy. Okay, I can do that. Or I referenced a real estate transaction, and it was really interesting because we were in a situation where I really wanted to get a particular number on a real estate transaction, and everybody thought I was nuts. And I was like, no, I can see it. I can actually see it. And I was able to actually reverse engineer some decisions, right? Mm-hmm. Some remodeling decisions and some other decisions that actually got us there very easily, mm-hmm. right? But that was, I had freedom in that mindset. And yet I was working with other people who were like, you're nuts. I'm like, no, I'm not nuts. I can actually see it.
Yeah, no. Okay. So you kind of, that phrase right there, I can actually see it, was where I was going to go, which is,
yeah, unpack that.
You need to think as if you need to believe and think about your business as if it's already doing what it is you want it to do, or that you believe it will do it.
Yeah.
And it's that belief that carries you into sometimes, because look, you've got to take some risks sometimes, right?
You
got to,
absolutely
whatever it looks like, you're going to have to take risk in being seen.
Yep.
You're going to have to take risk in some investments. It's not going to be huge, but on a relative scale, it could be like millions to somebody, right?
Yeah.
But you do it when you have the mindset that you're already in the place you want to be. You do it with the belief that it's going to produce the fruit.
Correct.
And even if that iteration doesn't, you'll go that, if it quote unquote fails, that's just feedback, right? Failure is feedback. You're going to go on to the next iteration of the same thing, and you will get there. That's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do it like, this one thing has to work this time,
nah.
You put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah,
and you're not going to bring out out of yourself the gold that's there that you don't even know.
Yeah. So why am I hammering this? We're going to go into something highly specific today, which is you are the content. But before I step into that, before I transition into that, I really wanted to have this mindset discussion, because I can say this all day long. And I say it to a lot of my groups a lot of the time, which is you behave from belief. I can tell what you believe about yourself, about your business, based on how you behave.
Yeah. And can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's so important and so critical. And you mentioned that you found yourself unpacking the mindset piece all throughout our coaching immersive, but I think that that's just the nature of what you have to do to walk through that mindset change. And that's sometimes why it's good to do it with a coach, or, in a master class or whatever, because you've got other humans to kind of push you along and hold you accountable.
Yeah.
And the analogy I was going to use is, I used to coach a lot of football, and you start every practice with certain basic fundamentals. You stretch, you warm up, and you do certain basic fundamental drills every day, because they're so important. And that is how I think of the mindset piece when you're going through these classes, whether it's this class or another class or challenge or whatever, that you will see us kind of always start with that mindset piece almost every day. Just like a warm-up.
Yep.
Fundamentals, right? You get the fundamentals right, and the rest is easy.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you. So here's my first bit of counsel. Your change in mindset will absolutely bring about a change in your finances, your business, what your business produces. But how you embrace that change in mindset, the only person who can do it is you. Okay. And some of us are fast starts, some of us are edifiers. If you're an edifier by nature, you're going to have to learn to step over the gap and trust before it feels true.
Can you just explain what you mean by edifiers versus fast starts?
Edifiers are usually people who come into a situation and they're wired to see what needs to be fixed.
Okay.
Okay. Versus fast starts who are like, hey, I see the shiny thing. We're going to go build the shiny thing.
Right. So both are valuable.
Both are. You will not break the 7-figure mark without an edifier and a fast start.
But yeah, what she's saying, I'm more of an edifier.
And I'm a fast start. Yeah.
She's like, okay, I can see that down the road.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but what about this thing and this thing and this thing? And you know,
without
if you're only an edifier, you may not get to that thing because you're just like, well, those things I can't deal with those. And if you're only a fast start, you might blow up on the things that. So
it's true. Yeah. It's true. But I say that because I'm going to talk about. Yeah.
Wait, one more thing. Once again, though, this is why talking about mindset is critical. Because we're talking to a lot of people who are solo entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. So and you're wired a certain coaches. Way. You're either a fast start, an edifier, or whatever. And so part of what you need to do when you're reflecting on your own is some inventory of like, okay, well, what am I, an edifier? Am I a fast start person? Am I both? And if I'm one, how do I get the best out of that?
Yep.
But also learn to do the other.
Yeah, it's really important. So mindset today, day 2, intellectually, in order for information to become income, it has to do what? It must transform. It must be achievable for your audience, and it must be measurable. Okay. It's either going to have something to do with money or time. Every single thing is going to boil down to money or time. We can talk about that strategically in the next offering of the immersive. Okay. If we don't deal in this mindset piece, none of that is going to land. Okay. So I want you to have a successful online information product business that clicks on at 6 figures a month. I am here to tell you it is not hard, but you're going to have to think differently. The first core concept that you're going to have to choose to believe is that you are the content. Say that with me. I am the content.
I am the content.
Why? Because there is only one thing in all creation that cannot be duped. Duped in the sense of duplicated.
There you go.
There's only one thing, and that's you. You could line up 15 of us, and we could all teach you how to mix red paint, right? There are lots of people in the DIY realms who would like to know how to get a great red color with like all natural type dyes. You could line up 15 of us and we could all teach you the exact same thing. There's only one thing that would be different, and that would be the individuality, the uniqueness of each one of us. And I'm here to tell you that there are people who will want to learn from one and not want to learn from the next. They will want to learn from the other one, but not the one next to them. And if you can get a hold of the mindset that the most valuable, critical thing that you're going to bring to any information product is you, your uniqueness, your unique sound, your unique take, your unique tone of voice, your unique whatever. That is the key, because that's what separates you from every other person on the planet. And there is a mindset required to show up authentic and comfortable. Okay. I have no makeup on right now, right? I'm on live, right?
Neither do I.
The point is, this is me, right? But I know that what the fruit of what I have been able to build by the grace of God, that there's fruit. And if I can just take that fruit and share it with you, give you the mindset, give you the breakthrough, I know that it is absolutely transferable. But before I understood that I was the content, I was always trying to do the next latest thing, try the latest software, figure out what I was supposed to wear on camera, figure out what kind of microphone I was supposed to use. I'd get hung up on my hair. Well, I can't, frustrated. I can't record this because my hair isn't right, or my makeup isn't right, or I'm 5 pounds overweight or 25 pounds overweight. And all of those things got me so hung up that I never actually created the content. And once I realized, wait a minute, I am the content, all of that falls away.
Yeah, I don't care whether you're doing, your idea is I'm going to teach beekeeping, or I'm going to teach stay-at-home moms to create a side hustle, selling Amazon or whatever
Right?
it is.
Yeah, like Stephen.
All of that is going to get delivered through, the content, whether you're going to have PDFs and videos and all that stuff. It's all going to be created by you. And that's your fingerprint. And your fingerprint, that goes back to DNA, right? We have a unique DNA fingerprint, and there's a unique thing about you. And, if you don't believe that about yourself, and you find yourself trying to copy other people, I mean, I think it's great to look at other people and take things that you like, but it's always has to be come out as an expression of who you are. So even, like I said, even if you're teaching beekeeping, it's going to have your unique fingerprint. And, that means that you're the content. And that's, I think, the genius of this idea of info to income, is that everybody has something, and everybody has an audience that wants to hear it from them.
Yeah.
So once you believe that, because I think it's true, then structuring the content becomes easier. And then the next iteration is, it's not just one thing, it's a series of things.
Yeah, it's multiple streams.
Right. And that's a business. And that's the goal.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things I want to cover, and we're gonna wrap up today pretty soon, because I do want to keep this compressed 5-day challenge a little tighter, is a lot of times we don't want to show up as the content because we want to figure it out. And if we can figure it out, we can remain safe and unseen and unknown behind it. We can be like this. Just deal with my stuff, don't know me. But that doesn't actually sell. Okay. Authenticity, transparency within, borders and boundaries, it is attractive to people because it's actually so rare. Okay. So, yeah.
I would just like to give
go for it.
To give a proof of that.
Yeah.
So we do Facebook advertising, we work a lot with different people on what works, what doesn't. But the one thing that's consistent is that the most effective ads are not shiny, slick, well-lit ads, with a cool script and music. It's a person on a phone
with imperfect hair, maybe not perfect makeup. Yep.
And just kind of doing it authentically.
Yeah.
And so to me, that is by far the best way. That's what people respond to. And that's the point. People respond to the authentic. And so they will respond to the authentic you. I promise you.
Yes.
And I don't mean everybody, right? But we don't need everybody to respond to us.
No.
We just need our people to respond to us.
Yeah. So huge. So huge. Okay. So one of the things I want to encourage you today on, there are, let me give you a couple bullet points to write down. There are actually 4 processes to an online business. Okay. This is a writer downer, and you'll have this in your slides. There's the creation of the audience, or eyeballs, as marketing people would say. You need an audience, you need traffic, you need eyeballs. That's one. The second component, if you will, is the sale process, the sales page, the wording, the transaction, the buy now button, all of that. That's the second one. We're going to set those two aside for a second. The fourth one, I'm going to come back to the third one. The fourth one is the follow-up. It is the re-enrolling, if you will, after someone has purchased from you. We're going to set that one aside for a minute. We're going to focus only on the content piece. And in your slides, you've got a very long kind of a written out paragraph of why it is so important. I'm not going to unpack that on this video because I actually want you to honor yourself enough and honor this process enough to take some time and just read that paragraph. See if you understand it, okay? And if just do a little bit of output, whether you're doing a text post or a video post. I actually think you should practice doing video posts. See if you can understand why content is so important to focus on first. Yeah.
I would just like to say, if you've never done a post or output, then I think it's then you, regardless of whether you, what you get out of this, you should do it.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna get into this business, then that's a skill that you're gonna have to get comfortable with.
Yeah.
So, and this is honestly, it's a very, very safe place to do it. This group.
Yeah.
You're
safe.
Yeah, you're safe.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, content confidence. The goal of this day is all about building your content confidence, because if you don't have confidence that you are the content, you're always going to be competing. You're going to get discouraged when Sally Sue comes out with a information product on how to bake a cake, and you were going to come out with it on Tuesday and she came out with it the week prior on Friday. You're going to get discouraged. But if you know that you are the content, you're going to see Sally Sue's product as testimony. And you're going to be like, rock on. I know people want to learn how to bake a cake. I'm in this,
Right. I'll find my people.
Yes, absolutely. So but without content confidence, nobody's going to buy my job. It's already been done. Okay, go ahead.
So now correct me if I misstate this, but I just want to go back over. So what she's saying is, you're the content, and you are a confident content creator.
Yes.
You realize that it is not just whatever beekeeping or cake making that you're making. It's that you are interwoven in that.
Yep.
I mean, I'll even say spiritually interwoven in the whole transaction that happens between whatever you're offering, whatever gets to the person online that sees it.
Yep.
And so, you're not going to get discouraged or caught up if you see somebody else who you feel like is copying you.
They're not, yeah.
Or succeeding in the exact space that you want to succeed in. There are over 7 billion people on the planet.
Yep.
And well over half of them have an internet connection. And, you don't need more than 1 billion of them.
Nope.
No. I mean,
I like 1 billion.
A tiny fraction, right? So I just wanted to just breathe on what you were saying there a little bit.
That's awesome. Okay, so you're going to see this in the slides as well. Content confidence. There are 4 aspects I want you to personally unpack for yourself. I want you to read the paragraph. It's actually called Site Assessment, Why Content Confidence First. And there are 4 areas. I want you to make some notes about yourself, your internal game, your teammates or your tools, and your external game. What do I mean by that? We're basically going to take a site assessment. We're going to look at who we are, what we have in our hand, and we're going to encourage ourselves that we are the content. And the purpose of this exercise is to really remind you of, frankly, how wonderful you are, frankly, what you have in your hand, the good things that you have access to. And you'll see in your notes, I'm asking you to do this and be honest, hopeful, strategic, and always looking forward, okay? So how are you wired? Do you love to do live videos? Do you hate to do live videos? How are you wired? Are you a morning person? Are you a night person, right? I mean, we have one client base where it's actually a night shift worker, right? So how are you wired, okay? So yourself. What's your internal game? What are some of your personality traits, some of your quirks? Patrick tends to be more of an edifier. I tend to be more of a fast start, but together we make a phenomenal team. Okay. But you've got to know how you're wired, because if you don't have a business partner who's maybe in your home or a friend, then you're going to start looking for coaches who are going to help you in the areas where you actually need to be refined. The next, let me unpack these and then you can wrap it up. The next one is teammates or tools. I should have added tools here. What teammates or tools do you have at your disposal? Do you know how to set up an email list? Maybe you don't know how to set up an email list. Do you know how to set up a Facebook group? What are some of the things that you actually need to take an assessment of? Okay. Do you have a business account? Do you have a Stripe account? Do you have a PayPal account? Teammates and tools. We're just taking a site assessment here, kind of where do we sift out?
Right. And if you don't have any of that stuff, don't panic.
It's just, don't panic, right?
No big deal.
And then all we're doing is we're proverbially stepping on a very grace-filled scale. Okay. And then the external game. Are there things that externally you need or don't have yet? Do you have a computer that you can work on? Little things. Would you need to get lights if you were going to do it? Do you need a microphone? Do you want to get a haircut? Do you want to lose 25 pounds? Okay, fine. It's not required, but we just want to take an actual site assessment.
Do you need to buy extra storage?
Yeah.
On the cloud for your files.
Yeah, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Dropbox, Google Drive. So today is really about you are the content, giving ourselves permission to have a change in mindset, right? That is hopeful, honest, strategic, and forward-looking. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing I want to say is I want you to practice doing the outputs. And I want you to tell us in the group 5 absolutely wonderful things about you.
And let me just interject. We know everybody has, nobody's perfect, right? So whatever thing that you may be thinking, but this and that, we all have, but this and that, okay?
No, okay.
What we're trying to do is call you forward. Whatever you have been in or you are in, or whatever you have walked or you are walking, from addiction to whatever, we're calling you out of that, right? We're speaking into the best part of you. And so we want to hear about the best part of you. We trust that the rest will get fixed. And I have one other thing.
Yeah, go for it.
You were talking about a few slides back. How do you like to do it?
Yeah.
And what suits you? And I want to just point out that one thing you hear a lot about today is sustainability. And I view when we ask you to, or when we encourage you to create products with respect to whatever your preferences are. I like to be live. I don't like to be live. You may need to grow in certain areas, but to give yourself grace to understand what you like and how you like to do things and how much time you have, it lends itself to sustainability. We don't, if you decide you want to go on this journey, whether you go with us or somebody else, we don't want you to start and then just give up.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to be someone you're not,
or
trying to fit into something that isn't you, it's going to be a lot harder. And so all we're trying to do is there's a lot of flexibility in how one of the great things about this space is it's so flexible. It's flexible in how you create the content, and it's flexible in how you decide you want to deliver the content. And so you want that to be as meshed as nicely and as tightly with all of the good things about you, how you like to be, so that, as you go through the inevitable ups and downs of life and business, you're going to stick with it. It'll be sustainable. End of speech.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's true. It is so true.
Yep.
Yeah. I can think of one business in particular I did twice. Once I tried to do it the way I thought I was supposed to. Second time I did it the way I wanted it to, the way I was wired. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Second time wins all the way. Okay.
Yes.
So that's your homework. That's today. We love you. Watch the replay. The slides should be in the group right now. And if for some reason you're not on the email list for the challenge, please do yourself a solid and get signed up for that. I'll make sure that link gets put in the comments and also in the general Facebook
feed. To sign up on the email.
Yeah, okay. Because not everybody who somehow not everybody who's in the group is on the email list. So we just want to make sure that you're on the email list, because we do send out emails and reminders and things like that. Okay. And because it's only a 5-day challenge.
Yeah. I think there are some people who signed up that we weren't able to capture their email.
Yeah.
Even if you put it in the sign up thing.
Oh, really?
There might be a few people missing.
Okay.
So if you're not getting emails and you
Yeah.
don't want them, then don't give us your email. But if you want to be kept up to date on
Yeah.
when we're live and all that stuff,
Yeah.
then
Definitely.
Just make sure you signed up.
Awesome. All right. I'm gonna go put some makeup on and have coffee. All right. Love you guys.
Have a
Do
good
your
day.
comments, do your output, and have a good day.